What we're going to do is bring really make everything local from 6 o'clock to 6 p.m. Local all day long, kind of move some of the recorded program into the weekends and at night, which is still a great listener base for people who are listening to those shows in the daytime. I want to listen later on. We want to bring back local sports. You have Sal here, who I've met few people that love a passion for local and college sports. And when I say college, it's like it's not the Division I, it's more the other stuff. But he's great at it. We want him to jump in there and do those kind of things.
Does he have an idea of what kind of coverage he wants to do yet, or does he just know that he has an interest in that and he wants to somehow bring that to WSAR?
Yeah, like February and March is going to be the some of the high school tournament games for basketball. We're already looking at that potentially. People know Durfee basketball has a great tradition in Fall River.
Deep history, yeah.
Yeah, the New Bedford Fall River rivalry kind of games, those kind of things we want to bring in. So we want to get that local sports flavor back to WSAR. And if you haven't heard, we're going to look at moving to Fall River, and that's going to be a big move. We're going to do a lot of behind the scenes stuff. If you're not on the Facebook page, head over there at WSAR, jump on there. The app is obviously something that you should be already have on your phone. We're going to eventually, hopefully, give some giveaways. Kind of find people on the streets that have the app and give them some gift cards and stuff like that. That's the more...
So do you guys have like a general idea, or do you even have a specific location you're looking at right now for moving the station to Fall River, or are you guys you kind of know that you want to bring it to Fall River, but you don't really know exactly where yet?
Yeah, we're thinking like Main Street, so right across, hopefully, City Hall in the courthouse, which, have you visited downtown much? The North Main Street?
Yeah.
South Main Street. So if you're there, you're right across from the government center, so when there's city council meetings, all that kind of stuff. The school committee happen over at Durfee, so you're a little bit distant from there, but we want to be in the heart of the city, which is North Main Street.
Yeah, and was WSAR ever in Fall River, or has it always been in this location around here in Somerset?
Yeah, it was at one point. Now we're in Somerset. You can literally see the bridge, the towers as you're driving over. So, yeah, it's been back and forth, so hopefully we're doing the round trip.
That's awesome. I mean, I think that makes the most sense to bring it to Fall River, because I feel like obviously that's where the majority of the listeners are, so that's really exciting. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. And of course, coming to Fall River, we're going to build a new state-of-the-art studio. And I'm kind of a tech video nerd, so I'm excited to kind of hopefully be a part of that and building something really great over there. So yeah, a lot of exciting things going on over the next few months here with WSAR. I'm really excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, if you just tune in, you can give us a call at 508-673-1480. You are obviously not listening to Wayne, you're listening to Mike Sylvia, the new general manager here at WCR. So call in, we're going to talk about some things. I'll give you a little teaser. So I did some quick research on the ballot questions. I have to really dig into these, but the great thing about Massachusetts is they send out that big, I think it was this year, it was like a red book. It kind of tells you what yes means, what no means, because it can get confusing what yes and no means, and it tells you exactly what is going on with the ballot question. As you might not know, too, some states, I think it's like Florida, the law is on the ballot, and if you vote yes, that's literally like the law.
Okay.
Right. I think Arizona does it, too. Like when Arizona passed the marijuana legislation, it was literally rec sales like days later, right away. In Massachusetts, all it does is prod the legislators to actually put together some legislation. So it took like legalizing marijuana in Massachusetts like a year or so, whatever it took. So these are things, and we can talk about the audit, how sometimes ballot questions pass and still don't become law.
Yeah, happen, yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that that's something that voters might have to take a look at some point. But rent control, I don't blame anyone. Like you see, like Madani became mayor of New York, and they call him like a socialist, communist. But if you're under 30 and you're trying to find home ownership in America right now, it's really tough.
Yeah, you can feel hopeless. Yeah, a lot of an entire generation of people are renting right now because real estate is just so expensive. And I mean, what's the average income for the average Fall River, New Bedford resident? Is it like $30,000 and a household like $55,000 a year or something like that? And then the average real estate price house is like $600,000. So you do the very basic math of that. So the average person cannot afford to buy the average house. So what's going to happen in 5, 10, 15 years if that trend continues? And a lot of people say that there's not going to be, some massive correction like there was in 2008. They say, no, this is a different ballgame right now. So it's interesting. So I can see, like you said, why a guy like Mamdani would have got voted in, because he's preaching, affordability to the younger generation. I think a lot of people just have had enough of how expensive life is in America.
And the problem, if you talk to people who develop, the problem with the rent control is states are basically competing for millionaire money. And these billionaire developers, they're looking at where they can make the most ROI, return on their investment. And if Massachusetts becomes a rent control, you're scaring away a lot of people, so it actually can make things worse. But that's something that's going to be on there. You have income tax. We all pay, crazy taxes. They want to move it from 5% to 4%. The one that's going to be controversial is rolling back marijuana regulations, which would basically go from recreation back to medical.
And how much support does that have? So obviously it has enough support where it's going to potentially... So these haven't officially made the ballot, correct? Or these are like on its way, the most likely ones to be on the ballot that have the most support? Is that what these, I think these 11 questions that we're looking at right now, is that what these are, what we think is likely to have the most support?
And we'll talk more about if they're on the ballot or not as we get closer, but generally it goes through, it has to get validated by the Attorney General, then they get enough signatures, and then it goes to the state, Secretary of State has to go through it, and it goes through a whole process. So these are not all potentially on there yet.
15 bucks.
All right, so I gotta get to it, right? We'll be right back.
Well, that buck 18 times. Break this, don't break that fucking thing.
Tune in to Cruise It with Bill. Tuesdays from 2 to 3 on WSAR. Join Bill King from Cruise Holidays at the Port to hear everything you want to know about cruising. Cruise It with Bill. Tuesdays from 2 to 3 on your only local news radio. FM 95.9 and AM 1480. WSAR.
We got 7 people watching.
Welcome back to This or Not This with Wayne, right here on FM 95.9, AM 1480, WSAR. To join the conversation, call 508-673-1480. That's 508-673-1480.
And so I'm going to get that wrong. It's Mike Sylvia doing it for Wayne Ringo. Let's go into the phone. Let's get a phone call. All right, you're up, caller.
Hey, how you doing, Mike?
Good.
Good. Congratulations to you and Bliss. I'm looking forward to all the changes that will be coming up this year.
This sounds like, is this Peckham? This Peckham?
No.
Or no? Okay. That's the price of it. I know. I'm trying to test my listening here. So yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. The app is great, but I have a comment about it if you want to hear it.
Yeah, of course.
It would be even better if you could somehow figure out a way to have like the shows cataloged in there so that we could listen like
Archive.
Yeah.
the archive. Yes, yeah.
Yeah. When I came in here, I guess Wayne and Jamie's show were not being archived, and now it's on the website, so you can actually go listen to those on the website. So even this show today will be archived on the website, and that eventually will go to the app.
Okay, that's great. Just another thing too, with the app, they stopped the broadcasting on the TuneIn app. And that's how I used to listen to the radio before. I don't have Alexa in the house, but I have all Google speakers. So all I would say is, hey Google, play WSAR, and it would play it from the TuneIn app. And now you can't do that anymore, so now I hardly listen unless I'm listening on my phone because it's not on TuneIn anymore.
Yeah, let me look into that. I'm writing it down now. I'll take a look at it. I'm not familiar with that app.
TuneIn, is that app on your phone?
Yeah, it's a radio app. They used to be streaming on there for years and years, and that's how I always listened to it.
Okay, so probably you go to that app and you play your radio.
I'm sorry, what's that?
So you go to that app and you find your radio station and then you listen?
Yeah, exactly. There's thousands and thousands of radio stations on there, and now it's not being broadcast on TuneIn anymore. Like even when I was out walking or running, you know, I would just look at my Apple Watch and just say, hey Google, say WSAR, and it came through my speakers. Now I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I'll take a look at that.
And that ended when the app came out. So I don't know if there's some kind of like legal or something, but
I love it. It's like live customer service right now. But I guess you could technically still do the same thing with the WSAR. So do you have the WSAR app on your phone?
I do, yeah.
So I guess, because you can still close out the app, right, and listen. I think I was just doing that before. You can close your phone and it'll still keep playing in the background. So I guess you could technically still go on a run. And
Yeah, I found with the, right now, with the app is going to get a lot of improvements. So right now, if you're on the app, but then you, on your phone, hit something that requires audio, it kind of kills the app and goes, so your phone will like knock that off.
got you.
But yeah, so I understand that.
No, fine. And if you like get a text or receive a text or something, it also knocks it off. At least for me, it does.
Are you going to be able
No, I
to
can
do
understand
lifting
how that
when you
could be
get
a
a new
problem.
car?
So I'll definitely look at
Because of
that, and I would
rental?
expect you'll see some improvements.
You'll
It'll
still
probably
be
take
able
a couple months to improve on that, but with
Yeah,
that,
of course,
of course. Yep, I appreciate that.
Oh, you're going to have to pay what you owe? How much is that?
Not really worried about
So if you all want to call in, by the way, 273-14.
That's a good hustle.
Why don't we go through some of the
fuck the price.
like your one that you
I guess I can't pass backwards. Because I can't get on Lyft, I can't get on doordash. I haven't even tried for the plates. If I can't get on those, it tells me that I can't pass. So either way, it's still got fucked. Trying to get you and I'm okay.
Money out of that, and it just seems like I feel like I don't know, maybe as a millennial, I feel like aren't we past this? Like I feel like we've all already understood, it's well documented that it's much less harmful than alcohol or cigarettes or sins or all of those other products. So I just don't really understand the point of making it illegal again.
Yeah, I don't see it happening, but there's a good point. So I say this, I have a saying that I with my friends that think maybe it should be illegal. You can either have a regulated, highly taxed marijuana dispensary that doesn't sell to kids, or you can have an unregulated with pesticides that's going through narco, you know, through the border, those kind of things that collects no taxes. You're gonna have one or the other.
Exactly, yeah. So now you're just gonna have, if you made it illegal again, you're just gonna have teenagers going to creepy guys' apartments and yeah, going through all these missions and stuff to try to get their hands on, you know, marijuana that could have fentanyl or other terrible substances in it, where you can, you know exactly, when you go into some of these dispensaries, it's like an Apple store. It's so clean, it's so precise, it's so, everything, the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted. So to me, in my opinion, I just don't understand the thought process of making it illegal. I'd be curious if someone's listening, if they want to call in with a different point of view. But I'm not really sure what you would necessarily accomplish by doing that. It seems like you would be causing a lot more harm than good, in my opinion.
Yeah, and if you go into a dispensary, they check your ID one time, and then when you get to the bud tender, they check it again, right? So there's no children, and no one's going to risk their license to sell to children. So the idea that the dispensaries would ever sell to someone under 21 is ludicrous. It never would happen. So in my view, you definitely, you definitely don't want to. I would not personally vote for this, and I would vote against it. And I don't think it's even going to be a thing. I think it's going to be one of those.
But do you think it looks like it'll make the ballot?
It might make the ballot.
But could you imagine the pressure that a lot of these dispensary owners and investors must be feeling right now, knowing that listen, it's like at the end of the day, anything could happen. People just think that, oh, it'll never happen, it'll never get turned around, and the next thing you know, it's like the people vote. But then we were talking, I think it was before the show, of kind of like how the audit, right? We could vote something on a ballot, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to see it, right? So what would happen if, I mean, let's play out that scenario, right? What would happen if marijuana did get voted on the ballot to become illegal again, or however you want to word it? What would even, is it like you were mentioning before, when we voted to legalize marijuana, it took like a year until we started seeing dispensaries pop up. If we reverse that, would it be like next day Like we're bringing the feds to the door, so the dispensaries they gotta shut
Imagine
down.
that, dude.
But it might become irrelevant because if you've heard Trump, he actually ordered the AG to reschedule it. So if you don't understand, marijuana is a Schedule 1 drug equivalent to heroin right now.
That's insane.
On the federal level. Trump has ordered a review to bring it to Schedule 3, which would be more of like over-the-counter or prescription, very light prescription kind of thing, which would
Trump's a man.
generally so the government can study it and come up with all these things. So you always hear these studies that say things are great. If you eat acai berries, you're going to lower your blood pressure. All these like we can't study it right now because it's like studying heroin, right?
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's pretty crazy. So I think it might become irrelevant by the time November comes around because I think if Trump, which is a political football, he can steal that from the Democrats. The Democrats with Biden controlling the Senate, controlling the House, never rescheduled it. And if Trump does it, he can win over the marijuana base, which is significant because if you look out there, alcohol is driving, consumption is driving down as marijuana consumption is going up. And that's, I think, a good thing because alcohol is a carcinogen, marijuana does not cause.
Yeah, because I see that a lot. I'm not sure if there's any validity behind it, but I see a lot of headlines talking about how this younger generation, which I guess we just found out is called the alpha generation, and millennials, which I am, a lot of them are drinking alcohol less, which is interesting. I don't know if that's just because, you know, there's just so many more studies as to how destructive it is to your body, but maybe it could also be the prevalence of legal marijuana. I mean, I guess that would affect the alpha generation, but I think a world of, you know, I'm not even like a big marijuana guy, but I feel like in a world of people, of more people taking edibles and gummies and stuff like that, it's a better world than people who are drinking vodka all the time.
Yeah, and I just think, we can beat the horse dead here over and over, but I really think it's a lot healthier alternative to alcohol and a lot of other things that people are doing. So if you just tuned in, it's Mike Sylvia. I am filling in for Wayne. You can call in if you'd like to join the discussion, 508-673-1480. So let me pick one here that I think will be something that could repeat of what we already seen. Access to public records. So people might not know out there, Massachusetts is one of the few states, if not the only state on my limited research on this, that the governor's office and the legislative branch is immune to public records requests. So if I want to do a FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act, I can do it on Mayor Coogan's office, I can do it on, you know, anything of the city departments. I can do it on anywhere in Massachusetts, generally, even the police department. So if you got something you need, and they can respond back and say no or charge you money and those kind of things. But the governor's office and the legislators, you cannot actually do a FOIA on them. And we know we're over a year now since the 72% of the voters in Massachusetts passed a ballot question to audit, meaning the state auditor audits the legislators. They're already being audited, but now allowing the executive branch to audit the legislative branch. And the pushback we've had from Michael Rodriguez, from Carol Fayola, that we did interviews on the Far podcast, was that it's unconstitutional, which I don't buy at all. And what is your opinion on that?
No, I mean, one thing I would want to mention is what exactly is, like, I know what it is, right? What kind of information would someone want to get from the governor that they would not be allowed to right now in Massachusetts under a FOIA request? What are some type of things that you would get from the police department? Is it emails? Is it, what kind of documents is it that most generally a journalist would be looking to get from a governor's office in a different state where it is allowed to happen?
It's going to be
a great
one
question, which
building
we'll have to take
over,
right
and
after
it's
the
going to be
break.
like 2 doors, 3 doors.
Where can you listen to WSAR? You can listen to WSAR everywhere you go, right on your cell phone. That's right, anywhere you take your phone. You can take WSAR. Download the free WSAR mobile phone app from the App Store for iPhone or Google Play for Android. Carry WSAR with you in the palm of your hand, right on your cell phone. Enjoy WSAR with clear, crisp reception anywhere in the world. And if you're in the car, just Bluetooth us over to your car's entertainment system for crystal clear reception. WSAR.
2, 3, 4.
Right in the palm of your hand. Starting stronger, start to all those.
And I put that seat in my car when it all set. It's fucking nice.
Free data recharging, complete data recharging. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, auto zone. Your local forecast 24. Meteorologist Ron Sherman.
What's going on, everybody?
Turning partly sunny this afternoon. Some high clouds move in. We're 20 to 25.
going on,
Light
everybody?
clouds night, lows 5 to 10 above. Clearing tomorrow, 20 to 25. Clear 0 to 5 above tomorrow night. Arctic high pressure hangs on through Friday. Lots of sunshine at 15 to 20. I'm meteorologist Rob Carrollton on your only local news radio, WSAR 1480, 95.9 FM, and WSAR.com.
Welcome back to Sense or Nonsense with Wayne, right here on FM 95.9, AM 1480.
Come on, guys, tap that screen, join in.
To join the conversation, call 508-673-1480. That's 508-673-1480.
All right, welcome back. It's Mike Sylvia filling in.
I don't know where we're going, but we're going somewhere.
Question or comment, anything you want to know the direction of the CR, you want to talk about these ballot questions, just call in 508-673-1480 and we will bring you on and have that discussion. So you were asking basically like if there's a reporter out there or someone out there in public wanted to ask questions, like what would they be asking, right?
Yeah, so essentially what it seems like is Massachusetts is a very unique state in the sense that the governor, was there anyone else outside of the governor, or is it just basically the governor who can't get public record requests?
So it's governor or legislators. So if you want to like FOIA something that Michael Rodriguez or Carol Payola,
I guess to the average listener, what's a FOIA request? I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah,
Some people might not know what that is.
Yeah, people might not understand. The FOIA is a Freedom of Information Act. What it allows is anyone can request public information from, generally public information should be available anyway. So a lot of times, like if I have a question for Mayor Coogan or Mayor Mitchell in New Bedford, I can usually just email their public relations person, or even if you have a relationship with them, ask them, and they usually will just get you that stuff. You can also go to the clerk's office and try to get stuff. If they say, sorry, we won't give you that, then you're going to have to go for the FOIA, which is
I had to walk all the way down?
ask request.
They shove it.
Most people have a website for that. So if you want to, like, let's say a police report, you can go to the police department's website.
It feels like fucking ice
If you
cream.
want to do something,
It feels like, did you say it feels like ice cream?
It feels like ice.
which I mean you want to ask the FOIA and what question you have, and fill it out, and ask you stuff, and all your stuff is online. It's pretty cool stuff. You have on there. So maybe simply, let's say that I want to know what I might FOIA the city council clerk and say I want to know the votes that were taken for the last year, or just historic information, or just
Take me a picture, say you're a journalist, right? And you're working on a story about origins, some type of story, whatever, about kind of information. What's the roadblock that you can encounter if you're trying to get more information out of the governor's office?
She get picked
So
up
for
truck.
example, there's something like, let's just say the governor's of the sugar.
Drive by Broadway and
Reddit, Reddit people say so that like a map. So the information right now, as far as I understand, they're all big,
Look at that shit driving a fucking dope-ass big truck.
So my interpretation is whatever you do for your local police department or government locally, you cannot do with the government.
Interesting. And this, I'm assuming in Massachusetts is more of a conservative tax ballot question. I would have to match.
This is Sense or Nonsense with Wayne, but Wayne is out today, so I'm filling in for him.
Oh, okay. Who's this?
This is Mike Sylvia. I'm the general manager here.
Oh, I'm Mike. Hey, congratulations on buying the station.
Thank you.
Clip. Yeah, I wasn't sure because definitely did not sound like nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah, Wayne's going to be out for a couple of days, and he'll come back on Monday, I think. So we'll be helping people fill in.
All right, and no more sports with a hurricane or my parent. That's pretty much done.
Yeah, right now we got the Fox Sports on there, but we're going to try to bring some local sports eventually. And we're going to also do some of the live sports at the high schools.
They must not like
Oh,
each
that's
other.
good. That's good. All right.
And I think we're at an interesting point of the station right now where we could get some feedback from people of what are some things they want to see on the,
Hey, caller, you got a lot of feedback, so I'm going to have to drop you off and answer your question from there.
Yeah, it sounded like he was on his commute back home from work. But yeah, we're kind of in a unique situation right now where we could get some feedback from some people. We're open to all suggestions, obviously, as to shows that they would want to hear on WSAR, because I know there is a lot of interest. I mean, come on, we live in New England, right? So a lot of people would love to see a sports show. But as you mentioned, we are, Sal is going to be potentially doing something with the local sports?
Yeah, Sal will be more of like play-by-play live stuff. So
cool.
There's a Durfee basketball game, those kind of things. But eventually we want to look at, and if you're out there and you think you can do great local sports, you can send us a message at the station here. So we want to bring everything local here. Definitely 6 to 6, and then 6 to 8 that sports time. Right now we got Fox Sports, which is pretty good, but it's more national.
Yeah.
We'd like to bring that more New England local sports, and that's the goal here. 6 to 6 o'clock, local, 6 to 8, hopefully local sports, play-by-play as we get it. Okay, we'll take another caller here. All right, welcome to the show.
What's going on, guys?
Welcome.
I just want to say congrats on the new endeavor. I think you're going to do very well. I have a customer service little request, if it's possible.
Sure.
And then I'll talk about the one of the ballot questions. For the app, I know Prestige Automart, they pay for advertising, but every time you press play, it plays that ad and then it goes live. I was wondering if it's possible if you just press play through the app, it just goes live into what's being broadcasted.
Yeah, that's something I'll look into, but right now it helps pays the bills.
I get that.
Yeah, so but definitely you're going to see a new improvement here over the next, I would say probably give us about 2 months to actually get that upgraded to something.
Also too, ad-free. That's also a potential option. Other
Could potentially do a subscription-based thing, maybe.
Yeah. So Sirius Satellite, you go ad-free. TuneIn, you can go ad-free. They have those options available if people want to, go ad-free. That would be something that ever becomes available. Given the price point that is fair, I think you might have some takers with that. In my opinion. As far as the ballot questions, is the NBTA one on there?
I do not see. Let me look real quick. I don't remember that one, but I've heard about that. So let me just look. I know there's something with the housing that falls into the MBTA housing requirement they have, but I don't know that I see the MBTA.
Yeah, the ones we're looking at right now are the ones that are most likely, I think. It says as of late January 2026, Massachusetts is only one statewide ballot measure officially certified for the November 3rd election. But then we have about 11 different ones that looks like they have a high chance of making it on there. So the MBTA could be one, but maybe it's just not likely to make it on there.
Yeah, oh wow. That question was talking about, I guess, putting more local control with the zoning back to where it was before. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's something definitely needed when it comes to that.
Yep.
And also, too, the stipends. I guess one of them has to do with stipends.
Yeah, that's that leadership pay, how they kind of use to corral voters. Like
That's a camera?
You probably remember this. I think it was like 8 or 9 years ago. I wrote a really long article about this, and I think it's a way to circumvent the state constitution because their pay has to be based on inflation and that kind of stuff. So they invented this thing called leadership pay. If you're on a committee, you get $20,000, and some people are on multiple committees. So at the time, Mark Montigny was on multiple committees, so he got a $40,000 pay raise. And as you know, in Congress and in state legislators, they do this because if you vote against something or you do something and get out of line, they can pull that committee seat from you and you lose $20,000. So they're trying to reform that so that it's not used in that manner, as far as I understand.
Yeah, so I will be in favor of changing all of that because I think that pockets get big enough as it is. And I think the marijuana question is on there to repeal.
A lot of people are about to get in trouble for the sidewalk.
I'm heavily against that because I think we have plenty of shops around here.
Is that what that is?
Commonwealth, and that's a big revenue, not only for them, but also for the state. We walk the taxes for the state. I understand those who probably don't like recreational, but the voters came out and to legalize visit, years back, and given a temper loss.
It's seeing who's shoveling, who did it.
There's been a lot of shit going around online about kids can't get to school safe and shit because the sidewalks are delocked and walking
So now, yeah, you're gonna get fined for it now. That's insane. I never seen that before. And I'm on live and I seen that shit. That's crazy. Look at this. How is that guy supposed to shovel that? Look, he's pulling over though. Making things that last. There's business right there, put all their snow right there. That's what that was.
It's kind of like if you're found talking to like court, right? You can't go back to court every other year until they can find you guilty. So I don't feel like there should be like a time period that actually go by 10 years until you can try to repeal something like this. Because what year did they repeal Massachusetts? Like,
Yeah, because it's been over 24 hours. Right?
Was it really that long? Yeah, I'm not sure, but to be honest, it's a great discussion. I just don't see it happen.
Yeah, every product is tested. You know, you don't have to worry about something related with, cocaine, whatever, something to really kill you. But with other dangerous drugs. But, listen, for this year, we need to be on a mission to save Mary Jane.
That was crazy. That was like a TV camera. That should take addresses and everything. So we send the tickets. That business is gonna get fined for doing that. That's wild. I can't believe that.
All right, Colin, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. How you doing?
Great, how are you?
All right, good. It could be better. It is tough getting around the city, man, right now.
It is. We were talking with Cliff this morning, City Council President. I think they had like 60 plows out there, and obviously the city needs like 2 or 3 times that.
We're about to get more snow apparently too this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, was it 3 to 5, 5 to 7, 8 to 10?
I see something different every time I check my phone. Yeah, I've seen 3 to 5. I've seen 2 feet. I have no idea. But I think we're getting something.
With the next one, sheesh.
Yeah. It's like in 2015. Remember that? Every other weekend in 2015, we just got snowed in. I like that. I was in school back then, so I missed a lot of classes.
Did you? But you guys notice every 10 years we've had a snowstorm?
It seems like that, yeah. The past couple of years, we kind of were a little dry, but honestly, personally, I actually prefer, if it's going to be winter, let's just go all in. Like, I'd rather see snow on the ground. It does kind of suck to drive around, though, but I'd rather see snow on the ground that looks pretty and stuff than just be cold and miserable and have no snow. So I'm not too much against snow.
No, I'm looking into it. I'm actually not
let people get cabin fever and all that good stuff.
Nice
you know what I mean?
try on
I'm going to have cabin fever no matter what in the wintertime, man. I think we have 39 days until we spring the clocks forward, though, which is kind of what my countdown is at.
Oh, that's good. But no, I really want to, all joking aside, I really want to address I got a family member up north, right, and off the 7th house.
Hello.
And I don't know if you guys are familiar, but them roads are like probably the worst in the city right now, in my opinion. The hills. I mean, Tiverton did their side on the south end over here on the opposite of Mount Hope Street, obviously at the last street and all that stuff at Tiverton. But them hills are steep over here. But that's also an exit too, towards the sewage plant. So if there was God forbid, there was an emergency, we need them hills accessible to Mount Hope and them two. I can't think of the name of them offhand. But the 2 hills in Tiverton on the back there. I come down there. I mean, Mount Hope's fine. I'm not complaining about Mount Hope. I'm just comparing that to the side streets off the 7 hills. Is it because there's a lot of snow and there's really nowhere to push it? People pushing the snow out onto the street, which is obviously a problem too. And another question, if we get more snow like we've done, like 14 and 16 and all these weird storms back in them years, where are we going to dump the snow? Do you have any ideas where we're going to put the snow? Because I know Boston was already dumping it somewhere, so I was just curious what you guys
one town was it eventually. I forget what town it was, but on the North Shore they were dumping it into the ocean. Like I think, what is the actual effect of why we can't dump snow into the ocean? I was reading a little bit about that.
Antifreeze, oils, fluids, that's why.
Yeah, pollution. All right.
Runoff, OSHA's good. Yeah, OSHA's a good friend.
So we'll have to take answer your question after this break.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Start your day by joining the Breakfast Club with Scott Renish and Pete Braley. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
67% of us say we hate picnics.
I haven't been on a picnic in forever.
No, I think you would
head outside a lot.
I think you would have a few with your place up there in Vermont there.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a picnic. Usually we just, have a table and we have food around it and we grab it. But it's not like we throw a blanket out on the ground and get the little basket out.
No, a picnic basket, no.
That's right. Hey,
And while you're on that picnic,
why don't you have a belly button?
I was trying to think why he said that, and I realized because he doesn't have one. That's interesting. While you're on that picnic, experts say if you want to keep mosquitoes away, don't drink beer.
Catch the Breakfast Club with Scott Renish and Pete Braley. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 on FM 95.9, AM 1480, WSAR.
At Pont & Associates Real Estate, your needs always come first. Joe Pont and his associates provide the service that's agreed to in the ways that work for you. Whether once a week, once a day, by phone, email, or text message, that's how they do it. Whether you're buying or selling or looking for property management, Joe Pont & Associates Real Estate is your premier choice to get it done quickly and trouble-free. With offices in Florida and Freetown, they're there to help. Check out their website at pontassociates.com or text or call Joe at 508-328-8500.
Get your local forecast 24 hours a day. Hi, this is Chief Meteorologist Rob Carrollman. For the latest hometown weather, depend on the WSAR St. Anne's Credit Union Weather Center. We're here for you. St. Anne's Credit Union, they're making a difference.
Town Property Management is proud to offer upscale apartment living with something for everyone, from our 55-plus tax credit apartment to luxuriously appointed market rate apartments located in the Fall River Highlands and along the beautiful Fall River waterfront. Town Property Management checks all the boxes for the discerning apartment seeker. Whether you're new to the area or looking to downsize, we have something to suit your requirements. To tour one of our apartments, visit KarenPropertyManagement.com or contact us for 55-plus. Call 508-324-1279, and for market rate apartments, call 508-567-0569.
It's Sense or Nonsense with Wayne, right here on FM 95.9, AM 1480, WSAR. Give him a call at 508-673-1480. That's 508-673-1480.
Welcome back to the show. It's Mike Sylvia filling in for Wayne. You're listening to WSAR, your only local news radio. You can watch us at WSAR.com on the Spittle City Autoglass Studio Cam. So definitely go to the website. If you haven't seen it yet, we did some changes. This show is now being archived. Jamie's show is also being archived. Just head to the website, click on the little down drop window, and you'll see the archives there, and you can listen to the shows. If you can't make it live, you can actually see it recorded. So, so welcome back with Mike Sylvia and Steve Richard, and we're going to fill in for Wayne for the next, we got another hour and 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, this is great, and obviously Mike's over here just figuring this all out as we go. This is fun. He has like 3 different things he's looking at over here, so bear with us if there's any hung up calls or whatnot. But yeah, feel free to give us a call, guys. Join the conversation. A lot of stuff to talk about. What were we even talking about before the last caller? We're talking about some of the ballot questions, correct?
Yeah, so if you're just tuning in, if you want to join the discussion, 508-673-1480. There's I anticipate about 10 ballot questions that are actually going to make it to the ballot in November. I think it's November 3rd. We're going to vote on. So this show, we're kind of reviewing the ones, and if you've got an opinion, call in and talk about that. We've already talked about a few of them, but we can always revisit those. The rent control thing, I think, is going to be something I think that could pass, that could be bad for the state, just in my opinion, because we talked about this earlier in the show. If you have rent control, that means landlords cannot raise rents higher than what it says, whether it's like 5%, 6% a year, or something like that. And I know we're all being crushed. I know people in my family and others that have had their rent go from $800 to close to $2,000, right? And that is like crushing for someone who's on a fixed income, Social Security, living off of disability or something like that. That is just like crushing. And we already know utility bills are going to the roof, right?
I think it was 2 years ago, my rent went up from, it was like $1,700 to $2,400 in 1 year. It was like a $700 a month increase in 1 year. And we didn't get a pool or anything. It was just, it's going up, and if you want to move out, feel free to move out. But, I mean, here's the thing, though, is with the rent control, when you look at rents, the average rent is still significantly cheaper than the average mortgage in our area. So it's not like these houses or these multi-family properties are extremely cheap to purchase, and we just have greedy landlords that are jacking up the prices and taking advantage of supply and demand issue. Real estate is extremely expensive. That's my synopsis of it as someone who is looking to become a first-time home buyer in this market. It's the average home price is $600,000. You want to get a multi-family in, like, maybe not the nicest area of New Bedford, Fall River, you're still looking at $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 up to $1 million. So I'm not sure what the exact, I know they're trying to implement rent control in this ballot question. I'm not sure what the exact cap would be. Do you happen to have that on you at all?
Yeah, it says it'll residential units at lower of the consumer price rise of or 5%. So whether the CPI, which is the consumer price index, or 5%.
So they can't go more than 5% in a year, is basically what they're saying.
It sounds like that's the cap. And that'll be based on January 31st, 2026, with exemptions for small landlords, new construction, in certain other cases. So there's going to be some kind of caveats on that.
I remember reading that, and I think one of the exemptions was also college dorms, which I find a little ridiculous, right? Like, why can't they play by the same standards as just your average landlord? Because there's people who buy multifamily properties in the surrounding areas of, UMass Dartmouth or whatnot, and they're going to have to be potentially pinched by the rent control, but then the campuses don't have to play by the same rules. Kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't know. My synopsis of it is, listen, I'm not like some big real estate guy, but I think that it's one of those situations where we're all on the same team, but we just have to figure out the correct route to get there, right? We all obviously, as a young guy, I'm turning 30 this year, so I'm not going to be young for too long, but obviously I want real estate prices to go down so I can build a real estate portfolio, but it's just so expensive right now. But I'm not sure if, capping rent control is really the solution to that. I would be curious to see a caller's opinion on it.
Yeah, if you want to join the discussion, 508-673-1480. We have a few phone calls here. We'll start taking them.
Let's do it.
All right, caller, you're up.
Hey, good afternoon, guys.
Good afternoon.
Good discussion on the ballot questions, but honestly, with regard to rent control, so I've been following this for 30 years, and there are just so many issues around that, and I just don't think the state would have any capacity to deal with the problem effectively as far as controlling the rents. I just think it's a non-starter. I mean, when you kind of look back at what happened with the shelter program, spending $2 billion on that, and how the state just totally messed that up, I just don't think it's really something that is going to happen, or people are going to spend a lot of time on it. But I think it's just going to be a red herring. Where I would suggest, and I know Channel 5, Ben Cimino has been on this for more than a year as far as the energy issues. I think that's more practical as far as like maybe doing something on the ballot for like National Grid and Eversource and Unitil and Liberty, as far as just trying to get a handle on just the energy issues, and just being involved with the communities, as far as trying to have a solution for that, because that just affects everybody.
So there's two things that I think is going to impact rents without this, and there's another question that's out there, which is to allow single-family homes or small lot starter homes We know Maury Healy has put out where you can build like a secondary dwelling in your backyard.
ADUs.
Kind of ADUs. And there's a ballot question for allowing single-family homes on small lots as well. So we know that's going to happen. And if you've seen Trump's executive order he's working out, which is to not allow corporations to buy homes.
That's big.
And that's a big problem because so many young people, someone say 25, gets married, wants to buy their first home. There's a house for $500,000. They bid 510, and some lawyer walks in with a suitcase of money and buys 550, and it's some LLC that like some company in California owns, right? So if those two things actually happen, and we all know this takes time, right? It takes a lot of time, but the cut in regulation is going to be the big impact on the state, I believe. Is that what you think, Colin?
Yeah, one thing to say too, with all due respect, it's Steve, right?
Yeah.
You're Barry Richards' son.
Yep.
I gotta say, I've called in, so I've been a Republican my whole life, and I've called in at BSM a few times, and it's just like, one of the things when you throw Trump out there, as far as some of the stuff he's tried to do, is just, it's not practical. I mean, we've already had 15 years of basically corporations and big, people who have a lot of money just buying properties. I mean, how are you going to unravel that? I just think to try to do that at the federal level, he's just trying to pick up votes. It's the same type of thing as just talking about rent control here. It's just a non-starter. I mean, it's just another thing that he's floating out there to get votes or to get people to buy into that. And, one of the things with regard to Barry, he's just a true believer. Like, to try to call in, I mean, just to say, the thing I like about Wayne and Jamie is they're both pretty open-minded guys. You know what I mean? They're both libertarians, former Democrats, and I just think with regard to talk radio here, especially in Fall River, I think that's one thing I've enjoyed is the kind of the give and take, and not just kind of being on one side and just kind of defending something that's you can't defend. And so, like, once again, to go back to the whole aspect of what the federal government's going to try to do. I mean, the federal government has just screwed up so many things over the last year. I mean, it just goes on and on. The list is just endless. And I think the same thing applies here in Massachusetts with the shelter program. I mean, that was just $2 billion plus was just money just flushed down the toilet. I mean, that money could have went to addressing the housing issue. It could have went to a lot of other things, and it didn't. You know what I mean? It was just wasted money. So I think it really has to be done at the local level. People have to get involved, with local politicians and try to come up with local solutions.
So, caller, I'm hitting a hard break, so we'll have to address this right
We'll
after.
pick that up on the other side of the commercial if you want to talk about
So thanks for the input, though.
Okay, thanks, guys.
What the fuck, bro?
We're your home of your local news radio. FM 95.9, AM 1480, WSAR, and W240EV, Fall River.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Francis. In Georgia, the FBI confirming a court-authorized activity. Fulton County Election Hub and Operations Center.
This is fucking bullshit. This is why I don't fucking come here.
There was voter fraud in the 2020 presidential election. Here's ABC's Olivia Rubin.
We do know that just last month we reported that the Department of Justice actually sued Fulton County for access to its 2020 records. Specifically, they were seeking things like ballot stubs and signature envelopes.
Just
They
stay
wrote
in the
in
car,
their
folks.
lawsuit
I don't
that
wanna
they
turn
had
it off.
sought this information from Fulton County, but that they had not complied with the request to hand over that 2020 ballot information as expected. The Federal Reserve Board
You look left, and all you see are these giant mountains of snow.
Thank you.
No problem,
Wow, look at the pink sky. That's crazy. You see that sky behind us?
$75 per student for all
Hotel District.
Great General Ford will release thousands of senators budget later this spring with a conference committee carrying out the final documents later this summer. While Fall River Public Schools bell-to-bell policy that has electronic devices, including cell phones, locked away magnetic pouches, the administration working with leadership in the Great General Ford on the bill to advance legislation without cell phones locked down in all Massachusetts public schools. According to Axios, Boston, Massachusetts Governor Healy also seeking legislation that would see age verification systems and parental consent requirements before young people can use Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. Checking WSAR's sports, Bruins host Philadelphia tomorrow night on Garden Ice, while tonight on WSAR Atlanta, and the Celtics on the Celtics Radio Network coverage 7 tip at 7:30 on ESPN with Pat McAfee this afternoon. Former Cowboys head coach Jimmy Johnson says he will not be in Canton this summer because of the failure of voters to insert Bill Belichick on the first ballot for induction.
I think it's tarnished everything in the Hall of Fame. All of the inductees, everybody in the Hall of Fame, just because of, 10, 11, or 12 ignorant, jealous, did not vote for him.
This is your only local news radio, FM 95.9 and 1480 WSAR, WSAR.com. On the state gas Credit Union Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Rob Carrollman with your WSAR today's forecast. Sunny, partly sunny this afternoon, some high clouds moving from 20 to 25, on clouds night low as 5 to 10 above. Clearing tomorrow, 20 to 25, clear 0 to 5 above tomorrow night. Arctic high pressure hangs on through Friday, lots of sunshine at 15 to 20. I'm meteorologist Rob Carrollman, on your local news radio, WSAR 1480, 95.9 FM, and WSAR.com.
Tune in Saturday morning from 9 to 11 for the WSAR Weekend Update with Sue Nanner. Sponsored by Fall River Municipal Credit Union with 3 convenient locations, offering personal and business solutions to meet all your needs. FRMCU, they're focused on you. Spindle City Auto Supplies, located on Bedford Street in Fall River, the home of that Spindle City shine. And by Prestige Auto Mart, with locations in Westport, Saudi, East Providence, and Brockton. Prestige, the better way to buy a car. It's the WSAR Weekend Update with Sue Netter. Saturday mornings from 9 to 11 on FM 95.9, AM 1480, WSAR. Right here on FM 95.9, AM 1480, WSAR. To join the conversation, call 508-673-1480. That's 508-673-1480.
All right, welcome back to Sense or Nonsense. Mike Sylvia filling in for Wayne. You are joining. Actually, go ahead. You take it away.
Yeah, so interesting call in before the break. I want to talk about some of the things that you mentioned in that call because I think you made a lot of interesting points. But just a reminder that you're listening to WSAR, your only local news radio station. You can watch us at WSAR.com on the Single City Auto Glass Studio channel. So before the break, we were talking about the idea of rent control is on the tip. It looks like it will be on the ballot in the upcoming election on November 3rd, 2026. And, there's a lot of strong feelings about rent control. Some people think it's a great idea. Now you got the office in New York City as mayor. A lot of people think it's a terrible idea and eventually will move out. But one thing I want to say is I hate how divisive our politics can be in the sense that we'll just shoot that idea. We all can agree, whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever, that the housing market is at insane levels right now. And it's at insane high. It's so expensive to buy a house. It's so expensive for so many people to rent. Energy is so expensive. So we can all agree on that. So I don't hate the idea of throwing solutions against the wall and seeing what the best solution is. So maybe there could be tax meetings with rent control. Maybe there is. Maybe the ADUs that we're seeing putting forward as a good solution. Maybe another question on the ballot is going to it's a great idea, whether it's a Democrat or a Republican, whether it's a very free market capitalist idea, whether it's a socialist idea. I think we all have to understand that we're all kind of in the same boat here, and just shooting down someone's ideas because they are aligned with a different political party, I think it's counterproductive. So I'm all for anything, because there's an entire generation of people who cannot afford to buy a home. I think I said at the beginning of the show, the average salary is like $35,000 in the South Coast. The average household income is like $60,000, but the average single-family home is like $220,000, which is like a $5,000 a month mortgage. So the math is that. So I think it's a good reason why there's like $3 questions that all revolve around housing. So that's just I just want to touch on the last call, and I thought you made some interesting points.
Yeah, we're gonna have a call with me.
Do it.
Nice to join.
How you doing today?
Doing good.
So, I believe in capitalism up to a point, right? So, I call it the wage show all the time. As far as, like, fixing the pricing of rent, it sounds crazy, right? Because these people are buying apartments to try to make money. And, when you start to mess with their income, that's when people get upset. So, instead of doing that, right, you don't know where our taxes are allocated. So why not, like, suppose an apartment is $2,400, and the person can only afford $1,100. I think the state should give the owner a $1,300 credit a month tax break, where if no one wants to be taxed, that's ultimately what these rich people do, right? They find loopholes around taxes. And a lot of times these tenants will rather write off the law because it benefits them. But if that law can be flipped into something positive, why not do that instead of saying, hey, you can only charge this much in your apartment? Because these people are buying houses that are bombing places right now. $600,000 for a three-family. Like, to pay that mortgage at 7.5%, they have to charge $2,400 because, my dad owns a big tenant and he says, what if the heat goes or the pipes burn? You gotta have that money to fix that stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Part of the problem is anytime the government subsidizes something, the prices go up, right? Because people figure a way to automatic flow of funds. When I interviewed Michael Rogers, and I asked him, I said, hey, why can't we just deduct
Clappies.
Because it was a while ago, so we deduct like $500 in your rent. I think he said it increased, and that was good on the did. So why not deduct for the renters to deduct the whole rent? That was an idea. I thought maybe it was down, but I also like your idea.
Can I have one sec?
That's actually a good idea because, it seems like we get less and less in our taxes every year. I think, rent being at $2,400 in Fall River, which is unheard of. You can get an apartment in Fall River 5 years ago, for like $800-900. Like, to write that off is huge because you're looking at like $15,000-16,000.
Yeah, I think, imagine if your rent was $1,800. I think the average, like, two-bedroom in Fall River now is like that. So imagine you could deduct would have been about $20,000 off your state. And then usually the state and the federal, find a way to match that up as well. But just imagine, like, let's say that's half of a family's income that you can write off. And that'd be great, but the problem is Massachusetts, like a lot of state governments, the desire for tax outweighs the desire to help your constituents. I always joke, and me and Steve talk about this a lot. We revolted against the British over, we had no income tax, no state, no federal, just 2% stamp e-tax, right? Like I used to say, I said, how much did a revolutionary guy pay in total taxes as an income? And it was like 2%, and we like fought to our death, and now we're paying like 1/3 of our income.
CVS on Pleasant Street.
We just go to the football games like nothing's going on, get distracted by
Did you give me this
so it's like,
first?
I agree. I think we gotta find creative ways to help people who have their rent doubled over time in a legislative body.
I found it. I think maybe Josh.
They don't write in.
Yeah, but what we need is, our government is huge now, right? We have government agencies for everything, which, in some cases, are great, but I always talk about being proactive as far as better than being reactive. And, financial apps, they know that stuff is coming. But yet no one's ever prepared for it. When you're going to prepare a budget, when you get prepared for expenses, for
Fucking customer.
Right? And like, Fall River hasn't been prepared for all of this stuff at once.
it's all hitting on this one, and the taxes are getting up there. Like, we're paying an exorbitant amount of taxes now compared to what we were 10 years ago because of the civil process, because of the schools, and we never proactive. We're always reactive, and there's people, payment here, and it just seems too much. But these people who are in office should have a plan for us going forward, because that's what we elect them.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the call. Yeah, so to go over that, so locally here in Fall River, I think the municipal budget was like $5 million over, and then the school went over another, like, I think it was like $7 or $8 million. At the, when I interviewed Brian Shortly, we were talking about they had to do a supplemental budget here for the state, because I think there were the 2.2 or 3.2 billion. Yeah, let's just call the lower number 3.2 billion. And I asked them where that came from, and it was healthcare, provider prices for the billion each. So the problem is we always spend and then collect later instead of collecting and then spending. Like me and you, we have to have an income that we just spend on, or we have to go to credit cards, and the government did that as well. I think the real problem is the just spending is out of control, and politicians don't know how to really pull that back.
And my question too is, I mean, real estate is expensive in pretty much every major area in America now. This isn't unique to Massachusetts or the South Coast or Fall River. You go to any major city in America, it's expensive to buy real estate. So logistically, is this even an issue that the government can even help us with? I mean, I know every issue, every hardship that people face, there's going to be a politician out there that can tell you that they know how to solve this issue. But is there really anything that a politician or the government can really do to lower the cost of housing?
100% just deregulate. So I'll give you an example. This is, and you should go into Google when I say like anecdotal stories. $3 million. So like two small, it was like 2 years in, and the guy really wanted to build a local land source. So like, I'll just get donate all the parts in the labor. Okay, it's $1.3 million. And he's like, wait a minute, where is it at? It's study. Permit.
So we take these regulations, because obviously there's still building codes, and like in America, we're not a third world country, everything has to be done the proper way. Yep. We take these regulations,
Okay, so when you go to, say, a more red city, they're going to have a book that's 3 inches tall on how to build a building, and then you go to San Francisco, and it's like, you ever been to Vegas and look at the phone bill?
Yeah.
Compared to the phone bill in another states, right? Because it's the legalized prostitution out there. But the thing that you have to look at is when you over-regulate, meaning you have to like go through 2 years of studies, and 18 people have to sign off on your permit. It delays, and the cost costs money because now lawyers have to get involved. You need more lawyers to make sure you're doing it all right, and then the city sues you, and then you have to deregulate. So as you deregulate, the costs come down, and then that cost hopefully is passed on to the...
What do you think about President Trump's idea to do the 50-year mortgage?
I don't know. I don't know that's the solution. I think 30 years is fine, because I think now you understand, like, most of your interest is paid in the first, like, 5 years, if it's 30-year or 20-year. The shorter the term, the less money you're going to pay in interest and other stuff. And because when I first bought my house in Hawaii, it was pretty crazy where my interest was equal to the house of for 30 years, it was equal to the house of the purchase. And I was a military station in Hawaii. I was like, wow.
Just to clarify, you don't have some second house in Hawaii,
no,
right?
I did for a while.
In my Hawaiian state, when I bought that one.
But when I first bought my house, the house was like, I think the house was like $480,000, and the interest I was paying was like $470,000.
Yeah, it's all up front of those mortgages. Exactly.
Yeah, but even 50 years, you're just lowering your price, but you're paying a lot.
And we already have that. It's called renting. You're basically renting if you're going to stretch your mortgage out to 50 years. If you're buying at 35 years old, 32 years old, which is the average age of a first-time home buyer, I mean, 80 years old by the time that mortgage is done.
All right, so let's take a break here. If you want to call in after the break, 508-673-1480.
Where can you listen to WSAR? You can listen to WSAR everywhere you go, right on your cell phone. That's right. Anywhere you take your phone, you can take WSAR. Just download the free WSAR mobile phone app from the Apple Store for iPhone or Google Play.
Why you can keep all the fucking money?
Because I still have to give you gas, which means I'm literally losing our money. And I'm just so sick of doing whatever I did for
did. That's literally what I'm doing this shit for too. Like, that's why I can't be doing that shit.
And I ain't going to Cosmo yet, so.
Oh, I'm not staying out. Your friends can be bringing me driving around that fucking Mac Pro. They can use them.
Bro, stop talking about my fucking business when you're on live. Straight the fuck out. Like, you can shut that shit off and fucking delete it.
At WCR.com on the General City Auto Glass video cam. And if you'd like to join the discussion, right now we are talking some of the ballot questions that you're going to be voting on in November. So if you want to call in and
shut that shit off all the time.
Call 508-673-1480. So do you want to move on to another question, or you want to keep talking about the rent control?
No, yeah, I think I kind of said everything I had to say with the rent control. You know, I don't necessarily think it's the solution, but I don't hate the fact that people throwing ideas on the table to try to fight the housing crisis. So I'm not mad at it. But another interesting one is the all-party state primary that they're trying to put forward, which would replace party primary with one open primary where all candidates compete together, and only the top two move on to the general election. What are your thoughts on that?
So that's basically taking municipal elections, which are non-partisan, and moving it to the state level. I'm against that. I think it's probably a Democrat move because if you saw what